When we talk about coins, often the first ones that come to mind are shiny silver dollars or golden commemorative pieces. But sometimes, the smallest coin in our pocket, the humble 1 cent, can turn out to be worth a fortune. The first up, the 1988 United States 1 cent coin, commonly known as the Lincoln cent, is a perfect example of how a tiny copper-plated zinc coin, usually worth just a penny, can shock collectors and investors with its incredible value when certain rare errors or conditions are involved. At first glance, the 1988 penny may not look like anything extraordinary. It features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brennerbach in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design by Frank Gasparo that had been in use since 1959. To the average person, this penny is just a common piece of pocket change. Millions upon millions were produced at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints in 1988, so in circulation, they are incredibly common. But for collectors who know what to look for, a handful of special varieties and rare minting mistakes from this year can transform an ordinary penny into a highly sought-after treasure, one that has sold for thousands of dollars at auction. The most famous and valuable 1988 cent is known as the 1988 Lincoln cent with a 1989 reverse, often called the transitional reverse variety. This coin is the result of a minting transition mistake. In 1989, the reverse design of the Lincoln Memorial was slightly modified. Most people would never notice the difference, but collectors are trained to spot the subtle change. On the 1988 cent, the reverse should show the initials FG for Frank Gasparo in a specific position, with a thinner and more delicate design of the letters. But in some 1988 pennies, the reverse actually features the new 1989 design, where the initials FG appear bolder and further away from the base of the Lincoln Memorial. This tiny difference is what separates a regular 1 cent coin worth a penny from a numismatic treasure worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The error happened because the mint accidentally used the reverse die intended for 1989 on some 1988 cents, creating a transitional variety. These are extremely rare, and collectors spend hours hunting for them in rolls of pennies, pocket change, and old collections. Auction records show that high-grade examples of a 1988 cent with a 1989 reverse can fetch jaw-dropping prices. In mint state condition, especially when certified by grading services such as PCGS or NGC, these coins have sold for thousands. A stunning example graded in top condition has brought in well over $3,000. And some experts believe that even higher values are possible if a near-perfect coin surfaces. Considering that most people toss pennies into jars or leave them forgotten in drawers, the idea that a single 1988 penny could be worth more than $3,000 is fascinating and keeps the treasure-hunting spirit alive among collectors. Beyond the transitional reverse, there are also 1988 pennies with other desirable error varieties, such as off-center strikes, double dies, and misaligned dies. For example, a dramatic off-center strike where part of the design is missing can fetch impressive premiums, and a strong double die on either the obverse or reverse can also attract high collector interest. These varieties, while not as famous as the transitional reverse, add even more intrigue to the 1988 penny series. Another factor that influences the value of any coin, including the 1988 cent, is condition. Coins that come straight from mint sets or have been carefully preserved in uncirculated rolls often show brilliant luster, sharp details, and little to no wear. Such coins are far more desirable than heavily circulated examples, which typically show scratches, dull surfaces, and overall signs of heavy use. Collectors grade coins on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 representing a flawless coin. A 1988 penny in ordinary circulated condition might only be worth a penny, but in a grade like MS67 or MS68, especially with the transitional reverse, the value skyrockets. This is why grading and professional certification are so important in numismatics. Buyers want to know exactly what they are getting, and sellers can command higher prices when their coins have been authenticated and encapsulated by respected third-party grading services. The story of a 1988 penny is also a reminder of how the U.S. Mint, despite its reputation for precision, sometimes makes mistakes that lead to collectible treasures. Transitional errors like this one occur during years of design changes, and history has shown us many similar cases. For example, the 1969 S double die cent, the 1972 double die cent, and the 1983 double die reverse are all famous for their rarity and value. Each of these mistakes has fascinated collectors for decades, and the 1988 transitional reverse fits right into this tradition. In fact, part of the thrill for coin hunters is knowing that rare varieties like this might still be hiding in circulation today. Imagine paying for something with a penny at the grocery store, not realizing you just handed away a coin worth thousands. It's this sense of hidden treasure that fuels the excitement of coin collecting and makes stories like the 1988 cents so compelling. Now, let's take a closer look at what exactly to search for if you want to identify a valuable 1988 penny. Start by examining the reverse of the coin under magnification. Look closely at the initials FG, which stand for Frank Gasparo, located to the right of the Lincoln Memorial. On the regular 1988 reverse, the letters are thinner and closer to the building. On the transitional 1988 with the 1989 reverse, the letters are bolder and spaced slightly farther from the building. This subtle detail is the key diagnostic feature. If you find a penny that shows this trait, you may be holding a coin that could change your financial luck. Of course, the next step would be to send it to a grading service for authentication, since only an expert confirmation can guarantee the coin's value. Collectors often use coin microscopes, magnifying glasses, or even smartphone macro lenses to examine their coins more carefully. Over the years, as more people have learned about the 1988 transitional reverse, examples have surfaced in collections, coin rolls, and even random pocket change. But they remain rare, and the thrill of discovery continues. Coin forums and YouTube channels are full of stories of collectors who found one of these gems in a jar of pennies or while searching through bankrolls. Each discovery fuels more interest and proves that treasures can still be found in the most ordinary places. For many collectors, the search is as rewarding as the find itself. Spending hours examining coins under a magnifier may sound tedious to some, but for coin enthusiasts, it is a hobby full of excitement, history, and the possibility of striking it rich. That's why the story of the 1988 penny is more than just about money. It's about curiosity, passion, and the thrill of the hunt. The legacy of the 1988 cent also raises interesting questions about how we perceive value. To most people, a penny is virtually worthless, often ignored or discarded. But to a dedicated collector, the same coin can be priceless if it represents a piece of history, a rare error, or a symbol of perseverance in the hunt. This dual identity, the common coin, that is also a rare treasure. The next up, the 1-cent coin from 1989. At first glance, a penny from 1989 may not look like much. Millions of them were produced, and most people alive today have held one, spent one, or have some lying around in old jars, drawers, or piggy banks. However, within those ordinary copper-plated zinc cents hides the potential for an extraordinary treasure that has stunned collectors, dealers, and auction houses alike. The most expensive 1989 1-cent coin isn't just valuable because of its age or metal content, but rather because of a perfect storm of condition, rarity in specific grades, and in some cases unusual minting varieties that make them worth thousands, and in rare cases tens of thousands of dollars. To really understand why a single penny from 1989 could sell for such staggering amounts, we need to go back to what the United States Mint was producing at that time. By 1989, the Lincoln cent had already been around for 80 years, having been first introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The design on the obverse still featured Lincoln's familiar bust, and the reverse still carried the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in use since 1959. But the important detail to note is that the composition of these coins had changed dramatically in 1982. Before that year, pennies were made primarily of copper, but skyrocketing copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to switch to a cheaper metal. Starting mid-1982, the cents were struck from a zinc core with just a thin copper plating, making the 1989 cent 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. That shift, while subtle in appearance, introduced new issues in production, like plating blisters, weak strikes, and unusual errors that have since become highly collectible. Now, most 1989 pennies are only worth face value, even in decent condition, but the game changes completely when we talk about pristine, uncirculated, and high-grade examples certified by professional grading services like PCGS or NGC. For coin collectors, the grade of a coin matters tremendously. A penny that has been in circulation will usually show scratches, wear, and discoloration, but a coin that has never been spent, one that has remained untouched since it left the mint, can grade the very top levels of the mint state scale, like MS67, MS68, or in extraordinary cases, even higher. These are the coins that attract intense bidding wars. The most expensive 1989 pennies are those graded at these top levels, with perfect luster, flawless surfaces, and no contact marks. In auctions, some of these ultra-high-grade 1989 pennies have brought prices exceeding $5,000 to $7,000, which is simply astonishing when you remember it's a 1-cent piece that cost just a fraction of a cent to produce. Beyond condition rarity, another major factor is mint mark. In 1989, the U.S. Mint struck pennies at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia Mint coins carry no mint mark, the Denver coins bear the small d, and the San Francisco Mint produce proof coins marked with S. Proof coins are special, struck with polished dies and specially prepared planchets to produce a mirror-like finish, intended not for circulation but for collectors. Some of these proof coins from 1989, especially those in deep cameo condition, can reach remarkable values when graded highly. Even a slight error or unique variation in these proofs can skyrocket the price. There are known examples where collectors have paid thousands for a 1989 S-proof in perfect PR. 70 deep cameo condition errors are another thrilling part of the story. During mass production, mistakes are bound to happen, and in 1989, certain error coins slipped through quality control. These include double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong planchet altogether. A 1989 penny struck on a dime planchet, for instance, is a fascinating rarity that collectors eagerly chase, and when certified, such pieces have sold for thousands of dollars. Even dramatic off-center errors from 1989, where a large portion of the design is missing or misplaced, can fetch several hundred to over $1,000, depending on how striking the error appears. Double die obverse or reverses, though rarer for this year compared to earlier cents, are still highly collectible and command a premium. The beauty of coin collecting is that discoveries still happen every day. Someone might be sorting through their pocket change, looking for something interesting, and come across a penny that, under magnification, reveals doubling in the lettering or date. Others may stumble upon a proof set in their family's belongings, not realizing that the shiny little coin inside is worth far more than the entire set. Stories of lucky finds, like children or casual hobbyists discovering rare 1989 cents and later selling them for huge profits, are what keep collectors passionate and constantly searching. It's this mix of history, chance, and possibility that transforms an ordinary penny into an object of desire and value. Of course, the record holders always get the most attention. The most expensive 1989 1-cent coin sold at auction was a jaw-dropping example graded MS68 red by PCGS, which realized over $7,000 at sale. That is 700,000 times its face value. And for proof coins, the perfect PR70 examples have sold in the thousands as well. These coins are not just money. They are artifacts representing craftsmanship, rarity, and the enduring love collectors have for the Lincoln Cent series. The fact that such a common coin can, under the right conditions, become such a valuable treasure is what makes this hobby so thrilling. So, if you have a 1989 penny sitting in a jar at home, don't dismiss it as just another piece of change. Look closely. If it's a proof coin, handle it with care, and if it appears flawless, consider having it graded. If it shows signs of an unusual error, like an off-center design or doubling, that could be the key to unlocking hidden value. And even if it's just a normal penny, the story it carries as part of America's numismatic history makes it special. Every coin has a journey, and some journeys turn into treasures worth thousands. As we wrap up this deep exploration of the most expensive 1989 1-cent coin, remember that coin collecting is not just about profit, but about history, curiosity, and the joy of discovery. The Lincoln Cent is one of the longest-running coin series in American history, and 1989 was just one chapter in that legacy. The most expensive examples from that year prove that no coin should be overlooked. Who knows, maybe the next great discovery is sitting in your pocket right now, waiting to surprise you. The next up, the most expensive 1-cent coin from 1994, a coin that at first glance may appear ordinary, but in reality hides stories of errors, varieties, and collector demand that have elevated its worth far beyond its face value. The 1994 1-cent coin, also known as the Lincoln Memorial Cent, was struck in large numbers at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and while hundreds of millions of them were produced, certain rare variations and minting mistakes have transformed what was once just pocket change into a collector's dream. To understand why this coin can be so valuable, we need to take a closer look at the history of the Lincoln Cent and the unique circumstances that made the 1994 version special. The Lincoln Cent has been in circulation since 1909, introduced to honor the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. By 1959, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design that lasted all the way through the year 2008. The 1994 1-cent coin falls squarely within this long era of the Memorial Cent, but what sets it apart is not the design itself, but the errors and conditions in which these coins were struck. Collectors often focus on coins that feature double-die errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, or rare metal planchet mistakes. The 1994 penny is no exception, and some rare examples have surfaced over the years that bring thousands of dollars at auction. One of the most notable and expensive 1994 pennies is the 1994 double-die obverse variety. On this coin, parts of the inscriptions such as Liberty or the date, 1994, appear doubled due to a misalignment in the minting process. For a casual observer, this might look like a small blur or shadow, but for a trained numismatist, it represents a genuine minting error that is highly sought after. Such a coin, when found in mint state condition with no signs of circulation, can sell for thousands of dollars. In fact, a pristine 1994 double-die penny graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC could easily attract fierce bidding among collectors, but the value does not stop at doubling errors. Another variety that has gained attention is the 1994 penny struck on the wrong planchet. Imagine a Lincoln Cent that was accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a dime or even a foreign coin. Such mistakes are extremely rare because of the strict minting processes, but they do happen, and when they do, the result is a penny that looks completely different from its peers. These off-metal errors are among the most expensive coins from the 1994 series, with some examples reported to sell for over $5,000, depending on condition, and rarity. Condition itself is another huge factor in determining value. A 1994 penny that has been sitting in circulation for years, scratched and worn, may only be worth a cent. But if you happen to find a 1994 penny that is flawless, with a perfect red copper shine and no contact marks, then you might be holding a treasure. Professional grading services assign coins a grade from 1 to 70, and coins that fall in the 67, 68, or even 69 range are extremely rare. A 1994 penny graded at MS69 red is a stunning example of the mint's craftsmanship and can bring several $1,000s at auction because collectors know how scarce such high-grade coins are. The story of the most expensive 1994 penny also ties into the human side of coin collecting. Many of these coins were discovered not by professional dealers, but by ordinary people checking their pocket change or coin jars. Stories circulate of individuals who found what they thought was an ordinary penny only to later learn that they had stumbled upon a coin worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These stories inspire countless collectors to look more carefully at the coins in their wallets, making the search for rare pennies not just about money, but also about the thrill of discovery beyond the double die and off-metal errors. There are also fascinating minor varieties in the 1994 pennies. Coins struck slightly off-center, coins with die cracks, and coins with unusual coloring from improper annealing all add to the variety and excitement. While not every error coin will fetch thousands, many of them still sell for significant premiums above face value, turning an ordinary penny into a collectible item. The most expensive examples are usually those that combine rarity with condition, an unusual error preserved in nearly perfect shape. Auction records provide further evidence of the value of the 1994 penny. Some of the highest price sales involve coins graded as Mint State 69 red, nearly flawless pieces that are breathtaking in appearance. Collectors are willing to pay top dollar because they understand how improbable it is for a coin to survive decades without a single blemish. When these coins hit the market, the bidding wars can be intense, pushing prices far beyond what most people would ever imagine for a 1-cent coin. It's also worth noting the role of coin grading and authentication in determining value. With so many counterfeits and altered coins in the marketplace, collectors rely on trusted grading companies to verify that an error or high-grade coin is authentic. A 1994 penny encapsulated in a secure holder with a high grade from PCGS or NGC can command significantly more money than an uncertified coin. This adds another layer of intrigue to the coin story, because the path from discovery to grading to auction is often filled with excitement, anticipation, and sometimes even disappointment if a coin doesn't grade as high as expected. So why is the 1994 penny so important in the broader landscape of coin collecting? It represents the idea that value can be hidden in plain sight. Millions of people handled these coins without giving them a second thought, yet a tiny fraction of them contained errors or survived in perfect condition, transforming them into small treasures. The most expensive examples of the 1994 penny serve as reminders that the world of coins is full of surprises, and that even the most common denominations can hold extraordinary stories. As we reflect on the most expensive 1994 1-cent coin, we also connect with the passion that drives coin collectors around the world. It's not just about the money, but about history, art, and discovery. Each penny tells a story of its journey from the mint to circulation. And for the rarest and most valuable examples, that journey has taken them from someone's pocket into the showcases of major auction houses. The 1994 penny is proof that sometimes the smallest coin can carry the biggest story. The next up the year, 1995, holds a special place. While to most people, a 1995 penny might just seem like ordinary pocket change, coin collectors know that certain rare varieties from this year can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars under the right conditions. This video takes you deep into the story of the most expensive 1995 1-cent coin from the United States of America, a coin that has gained legendary status, not because of its face value, but because of the extraordinary error that makes it so sought after by collectors around the world. To truly appreciate the value of a 1995 cent, we need to take a moment to understand the context of its design and history. The obverse of the coin, like all Lincoln cents minted since 1909, features the iconic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The reverse still carried the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been used since 1959. By 1995, billions of these coins had been struck, and the penny was one of the most common coins in circulation. But it was during this particular year that a dramatic minting anomaly occurred. An anomaly that transformed an ordinary cent into one of the most desirable modern era coins in U.S. history. This era is known as the 1995 double die obverse Lincoln cent. For those unfamiliar with the term, a double die occurs when the coin's die, the metal stamp that imprints the design, receives a misalignment during its creation. As a result, when the coins are struck, parts of the design appear doubled, creating a dramatic and highly noticeable error. On the 1995 double die obverse penny, the doubling is most visible on the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" along the front of the coin. To the naked eye, this doubling looks like a shadow or a second set of letters slightly overlapping the original. And once you notice it, It's impossible to miss. What makes this error so exciting to collectors is the fact that it is clear and dramatic, unlike many minor double dies that require magnification to see. This visibility has made the 1995 double die one of the most famous modern pennies in existence, often compared to the legendary 1955 double die cent that has been prized by collectors for decades. And although millions of pennies were minted in 1995, only a relatively small number carry this dramatic double die, which instantly set them apart in value. When we discuss the most expensive 1995 1-cent coin, we're really talking about examples of this double die era that have survived in the highest possible condition. Condition plays a massive role in coin values, and collectors rely on professional grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, to certify the quality of their coins. Most coins found in circulation have scratches, dings, and wear from daily use, but a coin that has never been spent, known as a mint state coin, can command staggering premiums. In the case of a 1995 double die penny, collectors go crazy for examples graded MS67 or higher, which are nearly flawless under magnification. Auction records reveal just how valuable these coins can be. While circulated examples might sell for $20 to $50, uncirculated examples quickly rise into the hundreds. But the true stars are the top-rated coins. For example, a 1995 double die obverse penny graded MS67 read by PCGS has sold for over $5,000 at auction. Imagine holding a 1-cent coin in your hand that collectors are willing to pay thousands of dollars for. It's truly mind-blowing. The combination of a dramatic error, modern collectability, and exceptional condition makes the most expensive 1995 penny a superstar in the world of numismatics beyond the auction prices. What makes this coin especially appealing is its accessibility. Unlike some rare coins that were minted in only a few dozen or few hundred, the 1995 double die was released into circulation in relatively large numbers. Estimates suggest tens of thousands may exist, meaning ordinary people had a chance to find one in their pocket change back in the late 1990s. Even today, lucky collectors occasionally discover one in old coin jars or collections. This accessibility, combined with the dramatic error, has helped the 1995 double die achieve almost cult-like status among Lincoln cent enthusiasts. As we explore the story of this coin, it's also important to place it in the broader narrative of U.S. coin collecting. The Lincoln cent series has been full of fascinating varieties and errors, from a 1922 no-D Denver cent to the 1943 steel cent, and of course the legendary 1955 double die. The 1995 double die is often seen as the last great double die of the 20th century, making it not only valuable but historically significant as well. For new collectors, it represents an exciting entry point into the world of error coins, while for seasoned numismatists, it remains a must-have piece to complete a high-quality Lincoln cent collection. Think about the thrill of discovery for a moment. Imagine a young collector sifting through a roll of pennies from the bank, only to find the bold doubling on a 1995 cent staring back at them. That single moment could turn a simple hobby into a lifelong passion. That's part of the magic of coin collecting. It connects us to history, to craftsmanship, and to the unexpected treasures hiding in everyday objects. And when those treasures turn out to be worth thousands, the excitement only grows. The most expensive 1995 penny also teaches us valuable lessons about the coin market. Demand is everything. And the reason this coin brings such high prices is not only because it is rare, but also because it is widely recognized and beloved by collectors. Its story has been told in countless coin magazines, guidebooks, and online forums, cementing its reputation as a modern classic. As long as collectors value dramatic double dies, the 1995 cent will continue to shine. As we wrap up this deep dive into the world of the 1995 Lincoln cent, it's clear that what makes a coin valuable isn't just its metal content or its face value, but its story, its rarity, and the passion of the people who chase after it. The most expensive 1-cent coin for 1995 is not just a tiny piece of copper-plated zinc. It is a symbol of how even the smallest objects can hold enormous significance. From pocket change to auction block, it represents the extraordinary hidden within the ordinary. So the next time you come across a 1995 penny, take a closer look. Check the inscriptions for that unmistakable doubling. You never know. You might just be holding a coin that's worth far more than a cent. And who knows? Maybe you'll become the next person to discover one of these gems in near-perfect condition, the kind of coin that turns spare change into a small fortune.